If you've ever felt like the little guy in your market, this episode is for you. Maybe you're a local business on Main Street or a small service based business trying to compete with brands that have big ad budgets and a big annual revenue. You keep hearing you need more marketing, more reels, more ads, more content, but you're still not seeing consistent, high quality clients. Today, we're flipping the script. My guest is Scott Grates. He is a national best-selling author, podcast host, entrepreneur, TEDx speaker, and sought-after sales training guide. He is the author of Referrals Done Right, who built multiple successful businesses, not by outspending the big guys, but by outserving them. In this conversation, Scott shares how he went from rice and beans, days after losing his corporate job, to building a referral-only business that doesn't rely on billboards, direct mail, or internet leads. He'll walk us through his 5S referral framework, why schools are his secret sauce, and how you can start a simple 5 minutes a day referral system, even if you're an introvert and you do not like networking events. This episode is going to blow your mind on how to use referrals to grow your business, and I'm so excited to share Scott's wisdom with you. I invite you to join us. Welcome to Main Street Success Stories. I'm your host, Jennifer Koch, entrepreneur, business coach, and founder of Next Wave Business Coaching. My first business I opened 2 days before giving birth to my second daughter. But then I grew it for 20 years. I grew it from a local bakery into a national brand and eventually sold it for a profit. I know firsthand how tough the odds can be. Only 1 out of 2 small businesses make it to year 5. That's why I'm passionate about helping entrepreneurs change those statistics through coaching, mentoring, and this podcast, where I share real stories of others, their success, their struggle, their mindset shifts, their fears, and lots of wins along the way. Because none of us are alone in this journey of entrepreneurship, and I want to make sure that you have the support you need. My goal is simple: to inspire you, motivate you, and show you there's a path to building a profitable business. So let's dive into the next episode of Main Street Success Stories. Scott, welcome to Main Street Success Stories. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Thanks for having me, Jen. I'm actually really excited because my business is literally on Main Street. So I think I fit the bill well.
You fit the bill well, and we were meant to be. You know, you are what I would call a referral expert, and you're an author of a book called Referrals Done Right. And I'm a huge fan of referral marketing, especially for Main Street businesses, small businesses. You know, we don't have the budgets to get out there in the visible online world and what it takes to really be found online. We have to rely on our people in our community. So when you said yes to being a guest today, I was so excited because I really want to dive deep on this. I feel like this is an area for small business owners that can be confusing.
Yeah.
It can also be intimidating. We do really great at joining our chamber, but then a lot of times we don't show up, or we meet people and we don't do a follow-up with them. You know, those are the things I see a lot with small business owners. And a lot of it's because, you know, they're wearing all the hats and
Sure.
everything. So how did you take us back to how this became such a hot button for you? Like, where did you find that this needed to be something I could lean in and really teach about?
Yeah, great question. And like all, great things that happen in life, it was out of necessity. When I opened my business, I had no customers. I had been out of the state for 11 years. And we had just moved back, started our family. My wife and I are both from the town we're in, but we were broke. We had 2 babies, both in diapers when I opened the business. We were coming off the '08 financial meltdown. I was with HSBC Bank and lost my job with 6,000 other people that year. And my wife's a school teacher, and we were on rice and beans for a good 2-3 years. So I opened the book with, the story about David and Goliath, which, I think just fits well for the small business owner. We can't compete with the corporate behemoths with their traditional marketing and advertising budgets. And in my space, I'm in insurance, that industry spends billions of dollars on marketing, advertising, everywhere you look, that you're seeing insurance ads. And so, after trying to keep up, because everyone said, well, don't reinvent the wheel, right? Just go with the old DIRT method, which is an acronym for direct mail, internet aggregators, referrals. And then the T was telemarketing back when we could do telemarketing. And then we were doing some newspaper ads and radio ads and some TV ads. And I was getting lost in the shuffle. I was just $5-6 grand a month, budget, which was huge for me, but it was nothing to make a splash in that space and be seen consistently. And so when I started looking at my ROI after the first year, the outlier was referrals. I had such a huge conversion rate on referrals, and the bulk of my good quality business was coming from that area. And then I looked at how much I was spending on those, and in many cases it was nothing. And so the ROI was huge. And even someone like me who had no business experience prior to opening my first business realized that I got to go all in on this area.
There's so many points of this that are so interesting to me. First of all, everyone says don't recreate the wheel.
Right.
Just do it the way others do it. And we do. I mean, like you said, most of us who started a business didn't have any business experience. We weren't opening our third, fourth, fifth business. We're opening our first business, whether it's brick and mortar service, whatever you're doing. And so, yeah, we follow what other people do. And I love how you did that. But I also love the fact that you were like, okay, wait a minute. I need to look at my numbers and I need to learn what is actually driving business.
Yeah.
Where a lot of times we don't do that. We tend to just keep going, more. And I really appreciate the fact that you took a pause. I think we can learn a lot just from that. And you reflected back on this past year of beans and rice and what's happening. And I am getting clients through referrals. So that to me is a very poignant point. And I think I don't want to gloss over that, because a lot of times we just keep doing more, hoping something different's going to happen.
And if I can, I want to double down on that, because the part that came next was actually much harder, which was having the leadership courage to do something about it. Because so many times we do pause and we realize, oh, we need to make this change, but it's going to be painful, at least in the short term. And we choose the comfort over the pain and the now, but we neglect the future. And so what do I mean by that? I could go out and double my budget and get more internet leads and send more direct mail and increase my revenue at the expense of my profitability right away. But what I decided to do is to cut all of that stuff and go all in on referrals, which takes much longer. This is a long game process. So my revenue actually decreased right out of the gate, which didn't look good on paper, but then long term, my profitability was able to skyrocket because of it.
And I think that's really key too, where a lot of times we can be so focused on revenue. That's the shiny number. That's the fun number. But, profitability at the end of the day is going to pay the bills. So you went all in on referral, and you have written a book called Referrals Done Right. And you're going to teach us, you're going to give us a little, snippet of what this means. And you mention in the book, you've got 5 key referral groups. Can you kind of quickly take us through these 5 key
absolutely.
groups?
But they all kind of start with S, right? So these are my 5 S's. So it's small businesses. And real quick, and we can dive deeper into this one. This is the idea of the goose and the golden egg. I was chasing the golden eggs, which is the potential customers, right? The prospects that I wanted to talk to, but so was everyone else. And, you're constantly on this hamster wheel of trying to find these new golden eggs. And finally it occurred to me that, hey, I need to go after the goose or the geese, right? And I need to figure out who are the people that are already doing business with the people I want to do business with. And I'm going to go all in on the relationship piece with them, so that then when they think of my products and services, they're sending their little golden eggs my way. That trust transfer occurs and the conversion rate is much better. So small businesses, huge. The second one is schools. And I know you want to dive a little bit deeper into that, so I'll go over that one quickly right now. The other one is service groups. And a lot of times, these people, are super connectors. Most of the time they're super connectors, right? People who are giving back to the community through service and civic organizations. And you mentioned the chamber and nonprofits. Even if they're not your direct customers, they're going to direct you to other people who might be great customers. And they're also going to introduce you to other potential great referral sources. So I stay active there. And then your star customers. This one's my favorite. And I think it's one that we don't spend enough time on. The idea that your best customers are your sales team, right? So hopefully right now, in the 30 minutes you and I are talking, one of my 12,000 insurance customers is out there saying something nice to someone they know about me, and they become a salesperson for me, right? And one of our best referral sources. So we focus on creating a wow experience. We ask our customers to complete satisfaction surveys annually to rate us on a scale of 1 to wow. And it's our mission to make sure that everyone that we interact with goes, wow, I either want to do business with them or I'm glad I do. And I can't wait to tell my friends and family about them. And, and that all goes along with creating this unique and memorable customer experience. And then the last piece is social media. And, this one is kind of a catch-all. You can, take the first four and make sure that everything you're doing, you're active on social. But, people are the new brands. It used to be back in the day that, people just trusted the name brand traditional logos that we know. And now there's less and less with the next generation trust around that, but people want that human relationship, especially in this digitally dominated world. And as AI takes over, I think it's the human relationship that's going to be the great separator, the differentiating factor in our businesses, because yeah, AI can do a lot of things, but it's going to do a lot of things the same way for everyone. So what's going to make you different? And it's that eyeball to eyeball relationship piece. And what an amazing time to be in business. And I tell my kids this all the time. I have 3 teenagers. I would have to go to Harvard and learn from the very best business minds in the world to have access to the information that they do with the phone in their pocket right now, and to be able to create content, to be on podcasts like this, to cross-pollinate with people's markets, via social is such an opportunity. So those are the 5 S's, and we can dive into whatever
You know,
you
you
want to.
you brought up the same word a few times as you were talking about your 5 S's, and that's trust. And I think you're right in the fact that we have to do actions now as small business owners to earn trust, because we are in a trust deficit. And especially the next generation, they don't trust the big brands and the logos and all those things that you're seeing. And that's why one of the reasons I'm very passionate about talking about referrals and helping my customers see the value in, jumping into referral marketing. So we've got these 5 buckets, and most of them, I could say we've heard, small business, service groups, star customers, social media. The one that throws me for a loop is
Yeah.
schools.
Yeah.
Where does that fit in for a small business owner?
Yeah. I think this is the secret sauce, honestly. I'm a contrarian by nature. I look at everything from 10,000 feet up and I'm like, hey, where is everyone going on this, left or right? And wherever they're going, I'm going to look the other way. Because if you do what the masses do, you get what the masses get. And so how do you become unique? How do you stand out? How do I get strategic and intentional with my branding? How do I future proof my business? And, when I look at the schools, especially as little as middle school, and I will work with elementary schools, but really my sweet spot is I want to be in front of juniors and seniors in high school, because those are going to be my next generation of customers. They're going to be my next team members, my employees. They're going to be my next referral partners. And when it comes to time to make a buying decision, right? If again, whatever your space is, it doesn't matter. I'm in insurance, but when it's time to make a buying decision with insurance, who are they going to think of when they're 20, 21, 22 years old? Is it going to be something they find online, or is it going to be that guy or lady that came into their school with consistency, adding value to them, helping them? And I'll show up in any capacity. I do career days, financial literacy workshops, driver safety events, or even just piggyback on events that they're doing and just show up so that they know me, not as the insurance agent, but as Scott, the husband, the father, the community leader, the thought leader, the friend, someone that they can bounce ideas off of. So again, just top of mind awareness to truly future proof your business, because whatever your products and services are, those are your next generation of customers. And all of that stuff, selfishly plays really well on social. So when you do show up at these events and you're taking pictures or doing videos and creating content and sharing with people that, hey, I live here, I work here, I care about this community, I'm willing to, invest in the future of this community. I want to keep top talent here. I don't want these kids to leave, and that plays well on social as well. So yeah, I'm very active with the schools.
Well, I am so intrigued with your secret sauce, and it's interesting because you see those career days on other people's socials, and I think that's really something, a key takeaway is how can you as a business owner, our listeners, think about plugging into their schools? And one thing too that's very apparent with you, Scott, is all these groups, you are giving more than you're taking. You are going in with a mindset of how can I pour into these folks? How can I help? How can I super connect? How do we mentally get there when we are worried about our businesses? Like you had said, I was out of necessity went here because I was living on beans and rice, we're awake at night thinking about, okay, I haven't had a customer in a while, revenue's down. How do we consistently show up in that type of a mindset when the truth is we are battling some really tough stuff? We're
Yeah.
trying to keep a business afloat.
Such a great question. And I'm so glad you brought this up because there's an order to this stuff, right? And so I want to be clear and back up. My first year in business, second year, and even like probably my first 3 or 4 years in business, I wasn't as involved with the schools as I am now because that is a long play. Right. You're not going to show up to a career day and all of a sudden 7 new customers are going to show up, the next day. It's just not going to work. So this is a 4, 5, 6 year down the road play. But the beauty of schools is every year you get a new crop. Right. So every
Yeah.
year there's a new crop of juniors and seniors, and so I get to be in front of new people all the time. And doing this now for probably close to 12 years, I've been in front of probably 15, 20,000 students. And I'm sure, a solid percentage of those are now in my book of business. What you hit on is so important. First, it's that servant heart. And I want to make this very clear when it comes. This is why the name of the book is Referrals Done Right. And honestly, the name of the book should have been Relationships Done Right, but that would have put it in a different section of the bookstore. But
Right.
it's really all about relationships. But the done
True.
right part is the old school referral. And why referral has a kind of a stigma about it is because it's, hey, I'll scratch your back, but you got to scratch mine. If you do this for me, I'll do that for you. What Referrals Done Right is all about is leading with a servant's heart and me just figuring out what matters to Jen. What matters to Jen's business? How can I help you? What do you have coming up that I can promote? How can we connect and collaborate? Who do I possibly know that I can send your way that would help your business, right? And then it's consistency. So if there was one word problem that I can solve for the people I work with, it's inconsistency. Because none of this stuff is rocket science. Like you said, you're all shaking your head going, yeah, we know, we know, we know. Or I've tried it. And my answer to I've tried it is right. How often and for how long? Because you can try anything once, twice, 3 times and not see results when it's a long-term play. So what we do is we teach people how to be strategic and intentional and show up with consistency month after month after month. And it doesn't need to be physically showing up. It can be, and we teach all this in the book, but connecting on social, handwritten cards, collaboration for different events that they have going on, leave them a review, give them a referral, send them an email with a related article that might help them in their business. So we just want our name and or face or presence to show up consistently month after month after month. So when they think of our products and services, they think of you. And a wild thing happens when you do this with consistency. The law of reciprocity kicks in. And by not asking you for anything, suddenly you want to give me everything, because for months and sometimes years, all I've done is help you and support you and show up for you in certain capacity. And then when you finally have someone that can help me, I'm the first person you think of. So again, long-term play. But when you build this the right way and do it over time, what we've created now is truly thousands of referrals come into our agency. I do no other marketing. I do some SEO. But I don't do direct mail. I don't buy internet leads. I don't do billboards. I don't do TV or radio ads. It is strictly a referral business now, but it couldn't be there if we didn't start with the groundwork of this long term.
And I think that's important is to remember that it's a long-term play. And I think sometimes we live in a world of unrealistic expectations because we go on social and we see this person hit $1 million in their business and they're in the same industry we are. And we think, oh, what am I doing wrong? And we put this pressure on ourselves, and a lot of businesses start and they think within 3 years they're going to be profitable and business is just going to be booming. And so from day one, you have to play this long game of brand awareness. And I love how you've used referrals as your strategy. How do you keep up? You must teach a system. Like, let's talk about the strategy of this a little bit and the implementation of this, because I have a database of thousands of people. I can go on LinkedIn and I don't know, I have 1,400 people. How do I keep up with it all on top of, my accounting and customer service and selling and everything else that I have to do as a business owner? How
Yeah.
do you make it easy to be consistent?
Great question. And the simple answer is start small. I think that the biggest mistake we make in so many areas is we take on too much all at once. we get overwhelmed, and then we quit on it. So what I suggest with people is start with your top 20 list and just figure out who are those 20. And I call them key relationships. Again, think of people who are already doing business with people that you want to do business with. So in my business as an insurance agent, I want to talk to realtors, car dealers, apartment leasing managers, mortgage brokers, people like that, because they're already working with people who are going to need my products and services. So find your top 20 that align with your business and just map it out, one per day, 5 days a week for 4 weeks. And every day, I just want you to make one contact with that one person. And then once you do, create a follow-up 4 weeks later, or I guess it would be the fifth week, right? If we're going to rotate. So 4 Mondays from today, and then do it, again in 4 weeks in some capacity. And just take notes. And maybe you're just using Outlook. Maybe you're using a ledger, old school pen and paper. I don't know. Obviously, this will evolve to you using a CRM system, which is what we do now to keep track of it for us. But to start small. It's literally 5 minutes a day, sometimes less, where you are just making one meaningful contact with one person. And if you do that every day, that's 20 a month, and then just repeat the cycle so you keep showing up. And then it might be 2 a day, and then it might be 3 a day. And then you might have someone on your team doing that with you as well, right? So now you're multiplying your efforts. And then you might get to a point where someone just does this for your business. And that's where we call it the rainmaker. So our rainmaker is constantly out doing all of the community events and making the connections and staying consistent with this. So the simple answer is start small.
And then the idea here, from what I'm hearing, is you're reaching out to the same person about once a month with
Yes.
this
Yeah, every
with
four
this
weeks.
formula.
Yep.
Okay. And you said it earlier. I think what I hear a lot of times from my clients is, I don't want to bother people. I
Yeah.
don't know what to say. And
Yep.
like you said, just don't even talk about yourself, talk about them. And we are not lacking information. You can go on ChatGPT and say, hey, give me a statistic about car dealers.
Yep.
And you could just write an email to a car dealer and just say, hey, this is what I heard is going on. How are things for you? Is that kind of the approach? Just
Spot
offering
on.
something of value?
Spot on. And I'm gonna give you the golden nugget here because this is the number one question we get. You're really good at this. You're putting things right on a tee for me. Is where do I start? Like I get it, but where do I start? Like it'd be weird. It's icky to just walk in and be like, "Hey, you don't know me, but I want to pour value into you." It's like weird. So what we did is we started a weekly blog, and we would basically ask, because let me take you back here, right? So what's the easiest way for you to get to know me? You're doing it right now. It's for you to interview me, ask me questions, right? And so I was like, how do we start interviewing people? I'm like, well, let's start a weekly blog where we shine a spotlight on amazing other business owners and school leaders and service organizations, all the people we want to pour into, right, in the system. And we say, hey, Jen, I would love to, take 15 minutes of your time. We have this Wednesday blog, call it something unique. Where's Jake Wednesday? We have this Jake from, I can't say the name of the company, but you can connect it, right? And so we bring this cardboard cutout out, and we do pictures at the business, and we interview the business owner or one of the business leaders. And then to your point too, with chat, even if you're not a writer, just take all of your notes, throw it in a chat. It'll write the blog for you. Put the pictures in, tag them, right? Now you're cross-pollinating, they're sharing, and everyone's seeing that your business, you are pouring into this other business, adding value to them. Again, we didn't ask them for anything, but now they're in our system. And then we're going to, 4 weeks, send a little handwritten card. It was so great to connect with you, Jen, blah, blah, blah. 4 weeks, we're going to do something else, maybe a thoughtful gift or, what have you. And now, boom, they're in your network.
This is just a refreshing conversation because marketing is so overwhelming right now for business owners. And in fact, I just did a podcast on it talking about passive actions, active actions, the cost of it, how to get in front of the ideal client, the trust that has to be built. And I'm getting this, I almost just want to go, I just want to go make a cup of tea and say, okay, let's just take 10 steps back and just get back to humanizing business. And that's what you've done.
Amen. Yeah.
It's so simple. Like you're sitting here going, 20 people, I can do that. I can do that. And a handwritten note, how fun is that to send a handwritten note, but even more fun to receive it? So it's like just getting back to the basics. I think we get overwhelmed with the shiny object. We get intimidated that we're not doing enough. And I love this approach. And obviously the results have worked because like you said, you built a whole entire business, a very successful business on
Multiple
referrals.
businesses. Honestly, we've taken this now into the coaching, consulting, sales training world where I did no marketing advertising there and built up a 7-figure coaching business just around relationships, right? And people that I was able to meet through this. We've got multiple insurance agencies, we've got a 7-figure real estate business that we run now, and it is all built on relationships. And I want to go back to the handwritten card. I say all the time that what was once old is new again. And we overthink what's a pretty simple business, right? Just see people on a human level, because more and more and more as we go into this AI world, and I'm not anti-AI, I use it every day, but we have to understand that, people have not changed since the beginning of time, how we're wired. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want to be made to feel special and loved, right? And so when you can show someone that, hey, I see you, I hear you, I care about you, right? And prove it with consistency, they want to be a part of whatever you're doing, right? In whatever capacity. And again, it takes time. The handwritten card. Every morning I sit down and I write out 3 handwritten cards. It takes me 10 minutes. It's my Scott Grates stationery, nothing on the inside, just my name on the front, nothing fancy, nothing branded, no QR codes, no websites. And I have this little system called Salute and Support. And so again, very active on social media. And so what do people put on social media? They put on things that they're happy about, that they're excited about, that they're proud of. And they put on things that make them sad, right? That, hey, I'm so sorry to hear about this, or, whatever. And then we stay away from the political stuff. But, salute and support. So I'm looking for 3 every single day on social where I can send a handwritten card congratulating them or supporting them, in some way. And another home run, going back to the kids and the schools. And again, I've got 3 teenagers. You want to get the attention of parents, recognize their kids. So parents are always putting amazing stuff about their kids online. So I don't send the parents a card. I send the kid a card, and I'll put in like a gift certificate for an ice cream or a pizza or, something, and saying, hey, great job getting the lead in the school play, great job with winning whatever championship or being all league in soccer, whatever it might be. Handwritten card, sometimes a little thoughtful gift, 80 cents to mail it. And then what happens? Well, then the parents get a hold of it and they put it on social, right? Oh my God, look at what, Scott sent so-and-so or did for, whatever. And then those kids will one day become your customers potentially, or potentially your employees. So, but at the end of the day, even if none of that happens, who cares? Because to your point, it feels good for me to do it. I don't expect anything in return. And I know that it feels good for them to receive it because they want to be seen and heard. And so again, everything we do isn't for the business purpose. It's to humanize what we're doing. And then the law of reciprocity just takes over.
And I thought I knew a lot about referral marketing. I teach my clients what I call the strategic referral partner, which is similar to what just a different title.
Mhm.
But I have learned so much just in these 30 minutes we've spent together, and I can't wait to buy your book and dive into this deeper, because
Oh,
not
thank you.
only is it so human-centered, but it's also practical, it's very doable, and it just takes away the ick of networking, I
Eh,
guess, You know, a lot of people fear it. There's a lot of intimidation, and I think it's because they go in thinking they have to have a sales pitch, have an elevator speech, and have all these things ready and collect business cards. And
Yeah.
your approach is not that. It's like, just be a human. And most of us who started businesses usually have a huge heart, have a
Yeah.
passion for other people, have a passion for a problem, and a passion for our community. And you're just helping us package that to not only market ourselves, but just to pour into others. So thank you for this refreshing
Yeah.
insight on
I'll give you one
referral
more thing. I know you're trying to
marketing.
wrap up.
Yes, please. No, please
I know
do.
some people are thinking it, right? They're like, well, what if I'm a social introvert, right? Or what if I'm not a good networker? I want to let everyone know that this whole thing is designed for the social introvert, for someone who hates networking. And no one believes me when I tell them this, but I'm a social introvert. Like, I'm comfortable with you. I'm comfortable in a group that I know, but you put me at a chamber mixer, I'm the guy in the corner, like pounding drinks, sweating, because I hate that forced, awkward interaction where everyone's there because they want something. And I don't own business cards. I don't collect business cards, because again, that's where everyone's going. So I want to go the other way. So what this allows us to do is show up one-on-one in unique ways on your terms. And a lot of it's done virtually, right? Handwritten, email, social media. So all of this you can 100% do, even if you're a social introvert and you hate traditional networking. because I'm both.
I love that, and same with me. Like, I love working from my jammies in my home office, but I love connecting with people.
Yeah.
So, what a great approach. Scott, you really walk the talk. Tell me about your fun project that you and your wife are doing. You have a podcast that highlights lo
Yeah, real quick. I mean, so it's funny how everything evolves. I'm always a just jump and figure it out on the way down kind of guy. So we started our blog, which was really successful. But then I'm like, well, how do we take this to the next level? And podcasting became the answer to that. And so we started a podcast called Love Living Local 315. 315 is our area code in central New York where we live. And we said, hey, we're here to shine a spotlight on all the amazing people in our community doing amazing things, people who normally don't get the spotlight. And so once a week, we have a guest on and we do a 30-minute interview like you and I just did. And we let them share their story and we blast it all over. And the audience has grown insanely. We've got almost 30,000 people that follow us here locally. But selfishly, what has it done is helped me meet people I never would have met before, right? Because now the cool thing about this, after years of doing it, now creating the platform, is people are now coming to us because they want to be on the show and they want to meet. And so it becomes really easy to network and meet people when they're trying to get a hold of you. And so that's kind of the really long game. Here we've kind of become, I don't like the word celebrity, but in our local little community, we are very well known because we put a lot of content out there. But it all started with the blog approach, which evolved to the podcast.
That's so fun. Well, Scott, thank you once again. Obviously, you have cracked Referrals Done Right. I'm going to put the link to your book in the show notes. I'm going to buy myself a copy and really encourage listeners to do that because I love this approach. You brought up the term long game a few times, but I'm a big believer that when you do things right, you're going to accelerate faster in the long run. And
Yeah.
that if you're just chasing what's in front of you this week, you're going to exhaust yourself. And that's why a lot of businesses don't make it to year 5 is they get overwhelmed, they get exhausted, they burn through cash. But if you do it right, have a strategy, have a plan, 5 minutes a day, write a few handwritten notes. We can be where you are someday, very successful business owner. So thanks,
And
Scott, for sharing your tips, your story. I really was honored to have you on today.
yeah, thank you for what you're doing as well. I think it's awesome how you serve small business owners. It's not easy, that, and you being there to help them is amazing. So good job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Hope you're walking away from this episode feeling a little lighter and a lot more empowered to build a business in a more human way. I love how Scott reminded us that referrals done right are really just relationships done right. You don't need to outspend the big brands, you just need to outcare them. If you want to go deeper with Scott's system, make sure to grab his book, Referrals Done Right. There's a link in the show notes, and reach out to him. I know he would love to hear from you. And one thing I would love is if there was an aha moment in this, take a screenshot of this episode, share your biggest aha about referrals, and tag us so that we can cheer you on. Before we wrap up, if you're a woman entrepreneur who's building a business and a family at the same time, I want you to know you don't have to do this alone, and you don't have to stay stuck in survival mode. I've developed the 9-pillar framework to build a profitable business focused on increasing your confidence, clarity, money, and peace of mind. If you're ready to take the next step, the best way to learn a little bit more about my teaching style is to join the free webinar, The 3 Keys to a Profitable Business. There's a link in the show notes below. As always, thank you for listening to Main Street Success Stories. If you're a small business owner who's ready to earn more and stress less, make sure you hit follow so you don't miss future episodes. Until next time, remember, you don't have to do this alone. You don't have to shout out the loudest to win. Just start with one relationship and one handwritten note.